Yeah, you guys look good. You be keeping well?
Yeah, Dad.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been following the whole diss between Kendrick Lamar, Drake, and J. Cole. I have no idea what none of that means. Like I don't even know who's dissing who because I've not really been following it. But apparently that's the news.
I heard about that, but I thought you were gonna say you've been following some type of diet. So you threw me for a loop.
Yeah, but you guys doing well though.
Yeah,
I'm just complimenting you guys. Yeah, so just take the compliment.
I'm staying
I'm
out
trying
of this.
to start a diss between our friend group.
I'm staying out of this. I'm Switzerland.
I mean, for the compliment that I just gave you, would you like to leave a tip? 15, 18, 20%?
No.
Okay, so you don't appreciate the compliment that I just gave you?
I just don't like the tip.
No.
I saw a meme today.
Just don't like the fact that tips are everywhere.
Yeah, I saw a meme today. It was like, from now on, if I have to order my food standing up, there's no tip.
It's actually a good policy. Yeah.
I sit down and you serve me, cool. I'm ordering it to go. Not a thing.
Greetings and fist bumps. This is the Raised Eyebrow Podcast, a show where we discuss how humanity has really lost the plot, but somebody's got to do it. We are your hosts, Kojo, Mike, and Alex. In this week's episode, we explore some movies and how they just lack a storyline altogether. They seem to meander and make large leaps from one scene to the next, dazzling us with explosions and great cinematography, completely missing several points. Now, we're mostly offended because our shtick is having meandering plots, but we can get past that. Except Kojo, he's a bit torn up about it. So on that note, let's spoil some movies. Yes. Oh, yeah, and there will definitely be spoilers in this one. So yeah.
Obligatory.
But we
spoiler alert.
I chose all popular movies, so
That's good.
hopefully you've seen them. If you haven't seen them, you know what happens anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of like not a game show, but little fun activity exercise, shall we say?
Yeah.
All right, who wants to go first?
Okay, I would go first. So basically, give an idea of the movie, and then you guys tell the audience what the movie is.
We'll guess.
Okay.
And if we can't
All right,
guess,
I'll give
you tell us the answer.
All right. So someone releases snakes on a plane, and then
Are you serious?
And then these situations starts happening right after that.
Is it snakes on a plane? The first sentence of your description.
I think this movie is a perfect movie because it's exactly what it says it is. No.
But you didn't use motherfucking.
Yeah. Well, there's no plot twist, that's for sure. Yeah. You get what you asked for.
It is what it is.
But
yeah.
I mean, it's a bit weird in the sense that like it absolutely makes no sense whatsoever because one, there's a murder and there's a witness, and the whole like even how this guy even discovered the murder in the first place is so weird because it's like he's on a bike, like the nice drone shots.
Mm-hmm.
And then he sees somebody hanging on a tree, and it's like so funny. Like exactly, why didn't they just kill the guy right away? Like why just leave the guy on a tree?
I know.
This falls into the category of it's so bad it's good.
Yeah, like Sharknado.
Exactly. Or
so then,
The Room.
he witnessed the whole thing, but then this cop, Samuel Jackson, perfect actor for this movie.
It's good casting.
Yeah.
Tries to fly this guy. And again, why are they flying in the first place? Can't they just go to the court in the city? Like, I don't know. But anyway, they have to fly to LA for, and so there's snakes on the plane because they're trying to kill this guy. So anyway, like this whole movie, like I think
it's just absurd.
Like, and then one other point, imagine you have the first class ticket on a flight and then you're being told to just go sit on with everybody else. I would be pissed.
I'd be upset.
Two, the snakes are supposed to be under the plane, but then somehow they came from the top when the gas mask falls down. Makes no sense.
Yeah, how would they get up there?
How did it get up there?
Yeah,
I
because
can't
the
remember.
sides of the plane are just the windows, right? Like they'd have to
Exactly.
they'd have to go all the way to the tail, go up,
Climb up.
and then come all the way back across.
Right. And then all take positions because they all fall down
Oh,
at the
yeah.
same time.
Yeah,
Perfect.
it's a very coordinated. I
They're
think snakes are.
sentient snakes.
Yeah,
So anyway, there you go. Snakes on the plane.
Strong lead off. Not much of a guess, but a good one.
never actually seen that movie.
Oh, you don't need to,
I feel like,
but
yeah, I don't.
you kind
I
of
don't
do
need
also.
to.
It's a perfect Friday night. You just want to just dumb down your brain, no thinking.
Definitely dumbed down. Right. Yeah, it's like if you're in the mood for like a Sharknado type comedy, go for it.
Mine is just basically all of Marvel movies.
Okay.
Yeah. So over the course of the first three phases, Thanos gradually identifies the Infinity Stones, which are all strangely on Earth, except for one, which eventually finds its way to Earth. It's just very convenient, given how big the universe is, but we could ignore that particular point. And he goes through all this effort to acquire the Infinity Stones and the Gauntlet so that he can complete his mission, which is to erase 50% of all people, only so the writers can work in the most convenient and lazy plot device ever, which we have seen time and time again, and that's a time machine. Effectively making all of the movies that predated it, like all the first three or four phases that came before it, just completely and utterly pointless. Everything that happened in Iron Man, the Avengers, the Civil War, Captain America, just pointless. And that's it. That's all you have to do. Just revert back.
So you're
I was thinking Avengers, but you mentioned Avengers.
It's all Marvel movies. Like the first four phases, it's just
you're just pointing out a really bad plot hole.
yeah.
Makes sense.
It's just, but they had that tech. They were able to come up with that technology very quickly.
Just really grinds your gears, huh?
Yeah. Like why? But then like all those other heroes, like if they had screwed up for some reason, you could just revert back.
Let's try again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like Loki, for example, when he did all that shit in Avengers, just go back.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Tell Thor, just get rid of Loki.
Start over.
We could save all this problem. Like it's just, yeah, they had a good thing going right up until that point. Yeah.
I think with all the Avengers movies, I mean that whole movie set, it's the action that matters the most.
Yeah.
Don't overthink it, folks.
Yeah. Like right up to like the first one, like the Infinity War, that was right. Every movie up to that was good, mostly good. Yeah. But then as soon as like in Endgame, when they introduced the idea of a time machine, like I just let out like this audible sigh in the theater. I was like, oh crap! Like everything's just rubbish now. So, I mean, they went downhill ever since.
Yeah.
Then, so at least they stuck to that.
Yeah, I find it's also maybe perhaps like what can make a movie sound or feel good in the movie theaters, because a lot of these movies, when you watch them in the movie theaters, they're like epic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Time travel always helps with the epic feel.
Yeah, even the trailers are much better than the actual movie itself.
Yeah. They give it all away. Also, while we're talking about time travel, check out our episode about time travel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a two-parter.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And in that one, we don't conveniently just time travel
Yeah.
back.
We don't take the easy way out with our podcast. All right, next. So I'm trying to figure out what to do next here. So I did like a theme for 3 movies, but I don't want to read them all back to back to back. So let's start off with an easier one. This is an old school one. Old school by our standards because we're old men. Okay. So the plot is troubled that he has little access to his children, a divorced man hatches an elaborate plan with the help of his creative brother. He disguises himself as an older British woman and convinces his ex-wife to hire him as a nanny. The man sets out to win over the children and become a better parent, but when both the man and his nanny persona must meet different parties at the same restaurant, his secrets become at risk of being exposed. Any guesses?
What's
Is
Mrs.
it-
Doubtfire?
That's correct.
Oh.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Kojo?
I was thinking of Arnold Schwarzenegger's movie.
Oh.
Which one is that?
Is it the
Junior?
Where he's a pregnant scientist?
yeah.
Have you seen that? I always love it when people take movies and then they would just like Mrs. Doubtfire is a comedy for kids, but then they would just add in like some kind of like sinister horror movie music,
Yeah.
and then it just seems like this. He's just like this serial killer who's just hunting down children and stuff, and he's really twisted, and
Yeah, it's funny.
it's amazing how much music can influence the plot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You're up, Kojo.
Okay, I'm gonna stick with the whole time travel thing. Let me try and make sure I don't give anything up. All right, so during the election in 1988, a teenager, I'm not gonna mention the teenager's name, sleepwalks out of a house one night and sees a giant rabbit. I'm not saying the rabbit's name. Who tells him the world is gonna end in 28 days. So he finds himself in front of his house, and a giant jet engine crashes into his bedroom, and then a parallel universe. That whole, pretty much the movie starts with this premise.
Can I guess?
Yeah,
It's like Wizard of Oz.
Donnie Darko?
yes.
Nailed it.
Yeah, but it sounds like Wizard of Oz when you say it that way.
You didn't mention.
Oh, the
Teenager.
I mean, I think they both have a lot of references in the sense that, like, with the both movies, you can't really tell, are they really experiencing these actions or it's just their mental illness,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Donnie Darko's supposed to be like manic or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Dissociative disorder or something like that.
Right. And even in this movie, for instance, like the lot of actions that he takes in his act of saving the world, and I don't know if it's advisable. Like, again, like, I don't know, like, it looks like every action, instead of doing something good, say for instance you have 28 days and the world is coming to an end, wouldn't you do good stuff instead of like burning houses and
Mischief.
I think anarchy would ensue
Oh, for
if
sure.
if there was 20 days. Yeah, I don't think there would be.
Well, it depends, right?
Yeah.
Like, what would this is a good episode. What would happen if there were 28 days left? Like, I think humans would just show the full spectrum of, like, human experience. So
Right.
You'd have, like, anarchy. People would, like, have sex on the streets. And then you'd have, like, people, like, spending time with their kids and, like, riding roller coasters. I don't know.
yeah.
You'd see the...
We saw a glimpse of that with the first 2 weeks of the pandemic. So
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
Toilet paper gets sold out for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember buying 6 rolls of paper for like $20 something.
wow.
I don't remember I think I just went to Costco and got a couple rolls, but I wasn't, like, excessive with it.
I freaked
Yeah.
out. Like, it was just 6 rolls, and I'm like, wait, should I buy it or not? Because if I don't, we may not have toilet paper in the house.
Yeah, you think like that. Yeah.
Um,
Anyways, I can go next. I'll give you a hint. This one's for a trilogy. I think it's a trilogy
Okay.
of movies. May or may not be a trilogy. So, but you see this plot in many other movies. So the Earth is going to be blown up in like an hour. And rather than sending everything you've got to fight the aliens that are about to blow up the Earth, they send 2 agents to dismantle this alien ship, which they don't really fight the aliens. They just kind of, meander their way through the ship and figure it out. And then they save Earth, and then no one actually knows of their heroism. And that is the plot to pretty much every movie in this franchise, and seen it a lot everywhere else.
Can we guess?
Is it?
Go ahead.
Is it Independence Day?
It could be Independence Day, but
Is it Men in Black?
it is Men in Black. Yeah, it seems to be a Will Smith thing.
He's all about taking down aliens with his charm.
Yeah. Yeah, because with Independence Day, it was Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum that went into the ship,
Yep.
installed the virus that killed the aliens,
Right.
and humanity was saved.
Eerily similar plot there.
Yeah, which kind of begs the question, like, so pretend you're the aliens in Independence Day. You travel
Millions.
great intergalactic distances
Yeah.
to come to Earth. Your entire fleet, you're going to take over the planet, and you don't have basic antivirus software installed in your computers. Like, really?
Just 2 humans, 2 confident humans take you out.
Well,
Yeah.
there's this new show on Netflix, 3-Body Problem,
Oh, I heard about this.
and it's similar in the sense that whatever we humans are hindering the progress of these. Well, they're not aliens; they're pretty much us, but in another planet, and they're not advancing. So then they came all the way here to destroy our science so that they could, progress. But then the thing is, if you're this powerful, why do you need, why are we hindering you moving forward? It doesn't make any sense. It's a great show.
Yeah, no, I never seen that one.
Me
Yeah.
neither.
3-Body
3-Body
Problem.
I heard it's decent, so it's on the list.
Yeah.
Gotta watch that. Okay, I'll go next. This one, we'll play off the theme of the world ending. It's not alien related, but the plot goes like this. So out of the blue, a sheer number of unprecedented and utterly unexplainable suicide incidents begin to threaten humanity, as a seemingly unstoppable and invisible menace alters human behavior beyond reason. So our main character is a science teacher who's a family man, and his wife and their friends. They try to survive this crazy disaster, but they also try to comprehend the origin of what exactly is happening. So they flee the contaminated areas and they head to the safety of the unknown. But then these sudden and uncanny attacks, they stem from unforeseen sources, which are actually plants. So plants are rebelling against human beings to get revenge for human activity on planet Earth. So it gets really weird. Any guesses? It's The Happening.
Oh.
It's M. Night Shyamalan. Shyamalan.
That's a long 2006 movie.
Yeah, it's a long time ago. But it's Mark Wahlberg and Zoe Deschanel. It's one of those movies that like starts off like promising, but then you're like, this is getting weird. Like it's not. It becomes like unintentional comedy almost.
Yeah.
It's been like in a lot of memes.
Yeah. Is the absurdity of these movies part of the explanation of mental illness?
Maybe. This one, like I see where the director was trying to go. Like this is like the beginning of like the climate change phenomenon. So he took like a weird like horror twist where like the plants are rebelling against humans.
Mm-hmm.
So they're releasing toxins to get people to kill themselves. Spoiler alert, obviously.
I wouldn't be surprised plants can do that because they do that with allergies.
Interesting. Yeah, that's
Is that why you have allergies? I thought it was just your immune system. The because there's
Yeah.
have you ever heard of the mycelium network?
isn't that
Oh yeah,
mushrooms?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And how so underneath if you go into a forest, their mycelium, which is basically mushrooms or fungi, it's like a network that's connected underneath all of the forest floor.
Mm-hmm.
And it would connect to trees, plants, anything growing there. And it would transport nitrogen or oxygen or carbon through the network to the parts of the forest that need it and take it from the parts of the forest that have it in abundance. And it's kind of like the internet of the plant world. And when it starts to like bloom, that's when like the mushrooms kind of just sprout up in random spots.
Mm-hmm.
It's because of the network.
Yeah.
And then they would spread their spores, and then the network would kind of continue to grow.
Yeah.
So what's your point?
People who think that it is a sign of like a higher intelligence amongst plants that we don't really think of.
Mm-hmm.
And because we think of intelligence the way that we understand intelligence, which is having the ability to converse, pick up objects, do things, have a level of autonomy. If you think of the mycelium network, that has a certain level of intelligence that we're really just kind of starting to appreciate as a species.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. It's like Donald Trump. No, I'm joking. I don't know about appreciate.
No, I said intelligence.
And appreciate.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, don't trees fight for sunlight? So like they'll like battle for the attention of the sun. We just don't see it. Like they'll kill each other by the roots.
Oh.
Kind of, yeah. And there's also like when they would clear cut forests, they would plant trees in their wake, right,
Mm-hmm.
to regrow the forest. But they would notice that the trees would be frail, thin, weak, and then half of them would die. And they didn't know why for the longest time. But then they would plant a tree in a bushy area or in a foresty area, and the tree would grow because it has to fight for sunlight. Because it has to fight for sunlight, the strong survive. And so this tree actually grows up strong because it develops those characteristics as a sapling.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so the plants that grow in forests grow stronger than if they're not in the forest?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, the ones that survive, like there's obviously a lower survival rate, but when they do survive, that's why trees have so many pine cones that they would release,
Mm-hmm.
or seeds, right? Because safety in numbers, basically. But eventually many of them will take root, and then they will grow, and then those ones, that's kind of like but if you just plant a tree in like a field, it's kind of at the mercy of weather. Like if you think of
Mhm.
wind, rain, snow, everything, it's just gonna completely. But if it's inside of a forest, it's also protected,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? If you ever, like in winter or in a blizzard, and you are outside of a forest in a plain, and then if you go inside of a forest, it's like whatever the rain or snow or whatever, it's a lot calmer in the forest than it is outside.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it's interesting how plants. I mean, they've evolved that way, so
Mm-hmm.
makes sense why they would do
It's
that.
not just us humans.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
Except Twitter. Twitter has not evolved.
Definitely not. Might be.
What's the status on it so far? I've not been on Twitter in so long.
It's still a flaming pile of
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
So
Some would say
But I
it's
mean-
devolving.
I came across something that said there, as much as the people that were laid off, and the company's still running on full steam. Like it's not like they're lacking manpower or anything like that.
No, it's doing its thing. It's trying to get rid of the bots. Good luck.
yeah, there's a lot of bots on there, and it's
That's a different podcast.
interesting. Yeah,
Mm.
that's a whole different podcast. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next plot.
All right, next movie. Okay, so a depressed man suffering from insomnia meets a stranger, um, and soon finds himself living in this person's house after his perfect apartment is destroyed. The two bored men form a group underground club with strict rules and fight each other, who are fed up with their mundane lives. Their perfect partnership phrase with a lady, and so then from there their friendship kind of like just and then stuff things starts happening.
You could have stopped reading after a fight.
Yeah.
Fight Club.
That's
Club.
obviously Fight Club, yeah.
Yeah. So
the plot sounds like the way you put it that way, the plot's
It doesn't
kind
give it
of
away. Like as in,
yeah.
like we know it because it's Fight Club. but if you heard that and you didn't know what Fight Club was, you'd be like, okay.
it'd be cool to see what audience say in our comments.
Does the
'Cause
friendship
I'm not
last?
sure if I mean it's
Yeah.
an old movie, so it's not everyone who probably knows about it.
Like the girlfriend who plays by Helena Bonham Carter. I can't remember what the character's name is. There's one theory, because we all know that, definitely spoiler here. So Brad Pitt's character is a hallucination of Edward Norton.
Mm-hmm.
But Helena Bonham Carter's character, so the girl that you see at the meetings, that she goes to all these meetings,
Mhm.
she's real. But the character that he starts dating, that's a figment of his imagination as well.
Right.
Because
So he hallucinated her too.
Mhm.
yeah, in my point I mentioned so I know, like, again, if the two of them are having a relationship, then is it him who's having a relationship with the girl? So that was what I was thinking. So your point answers that question then.
The movie never shows you that. So if she's a figment of his imagination and so is Brad Pitt, it's kind of like it's just all taking place in his head, and she is and is not having a relationship with both of them.
Right.
Isn't there a scene? I could be wrong about this, but I remember for some reason a scene where, like, after the reveal that Brad Pitt is Edward Norton, like they do a flashback to when Edward Norton, or I guess Brad Pitt, was having sex with Helena Bonham Carter, but you see Edward Norton. Or am I imagining that, or is that a scene?
No, that did take place.
So
yeah,
he was with the girl from.
but it's all from his own perception. So just because he has a realization that Tyler Durden is a hallucination of himself, that doesn't necessarily rid himself of that hallucination.
Oh, okay.
He's just aware of it.
Right. Wasn't actually her. It's just him.
He's an unreliable narrator. That's the
whole thing. That's the whole shtick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's some few notes that I was like, okay, so he destroyed his perfect house and he already had a place.
Oh, because they had the condo.
Right. He was against
And then
corporatism.
Yeah. Well, all the stuff from the IKEA catalog and
and then I mean, I think it's part of perhaps maybe a play on male whatever, but it's kind of like, so to answer his problem, fighting became a solution to that, and other men find fighting as a way to go over their I didn't really get that as a solution.
I think it's like because you can't be yourself in society because you have to like kind of project a certain persona, hence the IKEA catalog condo. And Fight Club is kind of a way for them to kind of just be the opposite of that, like these unruly men who just brawl, which is the opposite of civilized, right? You're just animals.
Right.
If you think of like because he works in like a business kind of setting at a desk, 9 to 5. has a condo. It's like this is like a very civilized way, and then the opposite of that is this brawling way. So he's kind of like torn between his animal instincts and his civilized world.
And his alter ego, Tyler Durden, is like this like free-spirited character that he could never be in regular society.
Right.
And so all these
I also
able to straddle that line.
I also think he had a struggle with his identity, which is to
say the least.
Yeah.
Fight Club.
Great. Yeah. But the author, Chuck Palahniuk, can't pronounce his name properly. That was his first book, but he's written several other books since.
Oh, okay.
He has a few good books. Definitely check them out.
Do they turn into movies?
Good author. Let me check.
They didn't become movies.
No, that's not a barometer for
the
next movie. This is kind of similar to the Men in Black example that I gave, where this is a collection of. No, Will Smith does not appear in this.
Sam Jackson.
Yeah. I was gonna make a joke about him punching Chris Rock, but I couldn't think of it. Anyways, Will Smith nor Chris Rock are in these movies. So this plot device happens a lot in these movies, and it's basically you have your heroes, which are usually about a group of 4 people, and they would, be fighting against this evil regime, and they would, find a way to kind of get at them, kind of, sneak in or do something, and it would just be the 4 of them. They would just like get together, on their rinkety ship, go towards where the enemy is, which is this big giant enemy who has a lot of weaponry, and then they would eventually get caught. And then their allies, who also have a military, would then have to come and save them. And then they would actually accomplish their mission. Do you know which movies these are? Because it happens all the time.
I mean, I think these are like your Afghanistan American movies.
No. This is more in the sci-fi realm, actually.
Oh, sci-fi?
Yeah.
Was this... Yeah, I don't know.
These would be the Star Wars films.
Okay.
That's the plot for The New Hope. That's the plot for Rise of Skywalker. The one that they came out with, was it? I can't remember half these names. Pretty 1 through 9, basically. It's Phantom Menace, all of them. It's always the same plot. Like they. Yeah. So in the case of Rise of Skywalker, they find the Sith Wayfinder, which they'll get more into that in a minute, which allows them to find the Sith homeworld. So then, rather than relying on the rest of the Resistance to kind of launch a full-scale attack against this planet, she goes there by herself, and then eventually they figure out where she went, and then they go to save her, and then they actually win the war. Had she just went there with everybody, she would have accomplished everything she wanted to accomplish, and less people would have died.
Yeah, Star Wars films aren't best for like military strategy tactics.
Yeah. Okay, here's one for military strategy tactics. This one just, every time I see this in the movie, it just, I cannot understand this. Okay, so the Sith planet of Exegol can only be found using a Sith Wayfinder, which is like this device that will tell you where the planet is, and only if you have this device plugged into your navigation system can you find the planet. It's the only way you can do it. Other than that, it's really hard to find. And there's only like 2 or 3 in the whole galaxy, right? So the planet is hidden, okay? But then the planet is also protected by this giant galactic fleet and the Sith who live there, right? So they would be well aware of anybody coming anywhere close to their planet, right? Mm. So what do they do with their fleet? They bury it underground. Rather than protecting the planet, they just bury it underground as if that's going to hide it anymore.
You can't see it.
And then the ships rise up out of the ground. But how does the rubble just not like damage like critical devices and infrastructure that's on the outside, like satellite dishes and stuff that's on the outside of these ships. They rise up and they're perfectly intact.
Maybe they figured out like a preservation technology to keep these things well preserved.
It makes the wow factor of how, the whole experience.
Yeah.
It's much cooler that way.
Exactly. So shit's coming out of the ground. It's more badass.
I know. Or there's this other scene where Palpatine is there and there's like this giant auditorium and there's got to be like 10,000 other people there. Like, where were they? The whole 9 movies before that. Where were all these like Sith who were a part of this cult the whole time?
They weren't ready.
But apparently there's like like why are they only sending out 2 of them to operate in secret when they had this entire navy, this entire Sith army? Like,
They were training them. They were building their evil. Takes time.
There's another example of just Disney trilogies or whatever, on the last movie, just completely just kiboshing every movie that came before it. You got the Marvel movies, then you got Star Wars. I know Disney needs to fix a lot of stuff when it comes to their movies. We won't get into that, but
Okay, we'll get started.
Just stop ruining every movie that predated the one that you came out with.
You did before.
Yeah, just
Preach. Okay,
I mean, Disney's trying to clean up their tracks too, so.
How? They just reboot everything. Oh, we screwed this one up. Let's reboot it.
Write a sequel. And speaking of sequels, I'll do my next one. And also, speaking of military tactics, let's see if you guys can guess this movie. It's not that popular, so I'll be impressed if you figure it out. So here goes. So, having long since abandoned his life as a lethal soldier, now retired tour guide lives a solitary life near the border of Thailand. And 2 weeks after guiding...
Rambo!
Yes. Impressive.
Wow.
That's actually pretty, yeah.
I didn't even get to half of it.
The Schwarzenegger fan here. Or not Schwarzenegger, Stallone.
Same thing.
They're both roided out actors.
Yeah, exactly. Just to finish the plot, so 2 weeks after guiding a missionary and her comrades into Burma, he gets an urgent call for help, and the missionaries have not returned, and although he is reluctant to embrace violence again, the former soldier and his band of mercenaries set out to rescue the captives from the corrupt Burmese army. Violence ensues.
That's Mr. Sly right there.
Yep. That's Rambo 4. Rambo 4. Did you guys see the latest one? There's Rambo 5 now. He's in.
Is it really?
Rambo 5?
He's an old man, and he has a stepdaughter. And
that's the plot to Rocky.
It's close, but it actually is Rambo 5.
He just keeps rehashing the same plots.
Soldier, boxer, same thing. No, it actually is Rambo 5, and but he deals with.
Yeah, that's the plot to like the Creed movies, though.
Kind of. In this one, he deals with Mexican drug cartels. So, watch Rambo 5. It's pretty violent, but I don't know. He's old.
Okay, so this one, I'm just gonna have to reveal what it is right off the front, because otherwise, my rant won't really make much sense.
Okay.
So this is this is coming from a good director, which is Christopher Nolan. Usually, his movies actually have good plots, good everything, really. And even this one, generally speaking, has a good plot. But there's just one glaring hole in the middle of it, and that's Batman: The Dark Knight Rises. So, in the movie, the entire Gotham police force gets trapped underground for months, right? In the Gotham subway system. Now, first off, who the fuck authorized the mission to send every single cop in the city underground? Like, who's running this department?
There's a reason why all this crime happens in Gotham. It's probably
no kidding.
It's just incompetent police force.
Send every cop in there. Why? You don't do that. There's no logic in military strategy where you would ever do that? Okay, so there's that, right? Secondly, in that time, so they're down there for months, right? So in that time, you're telling me that a handful of League of Shadows forces and just a bunch of rocks are able to keep an entire police force hostage who has guns.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is their city. They probably would kind of know where to look.
Mm-hmm.
This is also in the sewer system, like the subway tunnels. So the subway tunnels are connected to storm drains, sewers, other access panels, other access areas. Like they weren't able to get into these other areas in the sewers. They just walk in this one tunnel, and it's like just gets completely blocked in.
We're locked. We don't know what to do. We're stuck.
Criminals were prepared.
But yeah, evidently, yeah. It's just I don't buy that one bit. Oh yeah, and then here's the best part. You got to go back and watch this. So after they get saved by Batman, and they come, or Robin or Dick Grayson, or whoever the character is, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, his character, he saves them. They come walking out of the tunnels. All of the cops are clean shaven. They're well groomed. Their uniforms are clean and pressed. So they've been down there for months, and they look completely fine. There's no one has any facial hair at all. They're like still fit for duty. So apparently, when they do send them into these tunnels, every cop into the city into these tunnels to stop criminals, they send ironing boards, showers, plenty of water for them to shower. So they're prepared for that. They're just not prepared to actually get out.
They're very groomed before going to work. Strict code.
What if the underground is a code for vacation?
Yeah. You know, that's what I was thinking. Like what I think it was is that they weren't actually underground the whole time. They just got the hell out of there. They're like, screw this. Like, the city is just constantly going to shit. Just get out of here.
Just not dying for this.
And they just took the tunnel to Jersey and just got out of there.
Get their paycheck.
Because if you're in New York, if you go to Jersey, you're basically forgotten and lost, you know? Yeah, as far as New Yorkers are concerned, anyone who's in Jersey is lost. So
this is true.
It needs to be saved.
There's a reputation about Jersey.
Oh man.
All right. Any other thoughts on the Dark Knight plot holes?
No, it's kind of about it. Yeah. I guess, yeah. But yeah, I'll leave Batman there.
Fair enough.
I like the Batman movies.
Yeah, they're good overall.
They're actually coming out with the new Joker movie, so that's going to be fun.
Mm.
That'll be good.
Yeah. Looks really good. Joaquin Phoenix.
Did it get good reviews on Rotten Tomatoes?
And then why
don't
are
know.
all movies now coming with 2-hour-long movies? What's up with the deal? It's like
I think it's 'cause people are more willing to sit for that
I
long.
guess so.
Yeah.
It's weird because
no intermissions.
yeah, right. Like back in the day, way back in the day, they had intermissions, right? And it was actually built into movies.
I just think that with people today, they would not understand the concept of intermissions.
But you get them during.
They would leave and then they would come back and then they're like showing up late and you know,
not classy.
and like at least if you go to like a hockey game or NBA game or soccer match, like they would have like announcements or music playing like when you need to get back to your seat, right?
Yeah.
But in a movie theater, they can't do that
No.
because that happens constantly. You get confused.
You just start the movie again. You keep track of things, but yeah, it happens for plays.
Yeah. But they play music and stuff, but that's like one facility that's solely dedicated to that one production, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like movie theater, you're going to have like, how many theaters they have? Like 12?
Lots.
Yeah. So.
I don't get like how movies, in a way, you can go watch a movie and sneak into the other room.
Have you ever done that?
I've never tried it. I always
Me neither.
thought about it, but never tried it.
Same.
I saw Batman Begins that way.
Nice. Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah. No, sorry, correction. A friend of mine,
Yeah.
someone I know, a former colleague,
Friend of a friend.
saw. Yeah. I think it was my second cousin, 3 times removed. They saw that way, allegedly.
Allegedly.
I only found out on Facebook.
They posted about it right after. Okay, so I'll jump into the next plot description. I saved this for last. So it's 3 separate movies. They all have a theme. Let's see if you guys can guess them. I was trying to make it like first one is like easy, second one is harder, and then the third one's like impossible to guess, but they're all pretty easy to guess, so I'll just let you guys guess. First one. A timid bank clerk discovers a facial accessory containing the spirit of the Norse god Loki, and his life changes forever. While wearing his accessory, the banker becomes a supernatural playboy, exuding charm and confidence, which allows him to catch the eye of a local nightclub singer. And under his overly confident, manic state, the banker ends up robbing a bank, which angers a junior crime lord who happens to be the singer crush's boyfriend and whose goons get blamed for the heist instead. The banker goes on a journey of self-reliance without his newfound neurotic accessory powers as he tries to get the girl and bring down the bad guys while proving his own innocence. Guesses?
The Mask.
Correct.
Yeah.
Wait,
that was
movie is
Cameron
it?
Diaz's first movie, eh?
Sorry?
Cameron Diaz, she was like an unknown
Yeah.
actress at the time, and that was her first
She was
movie.
young. Next one. An eccentric detective specializing in crimes against animals goes in search of the kidnapped mascot of Miami's professional football team, an actual dolphin. As the private investigator looks into the case, other players are kidnapped too, making the case work even more pressing. While working with the Dolphins' representative, the investigator closes in on the culprits, but not before many frustrating misadventures eventually lead to the culprit being a police lieutenant disguised as a woman, but is really a disgruntled former football player who escaped a mental asylum in hopes of revenge. Guesses?
I think Alex knows the answer.
Yeah, Ace Ventura.
That's right.
Laces out, Marino.
And then last one. One day a limo driver is assigned to pick up a wealthy customer for a ride at the airport. He believes this customer is the most beautiful woman he's ever seen. But little does the driver know that the woman is the victim of an elaborate kidnapping and extortion plot, and that the trip to the airport was supposed to be the payoff to release her kidnapped husband. The driver grabs the briefcase, and that sets off a chain of events that sees him and his roommate friend embark on a cross-country road trip, hell-bent on delivering the briefcase to the woman. But along the way, they meet nearly every seedy and shady character involved in the conspiracy. The limo driver doesn't know what the briefcase he set on delivering contains, but he eventually finds out that there's $5 million in cash, and his friendship with his roommate is tested at every stop along the way. Guesses?
Do you know this one, Kojo?
No.
Oh, you gotta watch more Jim Carrey movies. This is Dumb and Dumber.
Ding, ding, ding.
Oh.
So the theme here
Yeah.
is obviously Jim Carrey with all 3 of them, and all 3 of these movies were released in 1994. This actually made Jim Carrey the richest actor in Hollywood in the same year, and obviously the rest is history. Catapulted his
Wow.
They all came out in the same year?
All of these movies came out in 1994.
Holy
Wow.
crap.
Jim Carrey became the superstar, essentially.
Yeah, those are all like legendary.
You know, the first Dumb and Dumber I watched was a cartoon on Cartoon Network.
Really? Interesting. Was that after the movie or?
I don't
Wait.
think I've even seen the movie itself. I've only seen the
Come
cartoons.
on.
You ever seen The
Maybe you're
Mask or
Oh, the Mask, yeah.
yeah?
I think there was an Ace Ventura cartoon for sure. I don't know. I didn't know there was a Dumb and Dumber cartoon. They made a sequel. It was terrible.
Yeah.
And then they made a third one with the same actors like 20 years later.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen that one. Heard it was bad.
Yeah, the first one, in all cases, all of them were good. Ace Ventura was the only one where the sequel was actually pretty decent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, When Nature Calls.
Yeah,
He goes to Africa, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, that one's funny.
He's an amazing
He tries to
actor.
find a bat in Africa.
I find
Jim
like
Carrey, yeah.
all
So all three of
his
those movies.
characters are the same.
Yeah, it's just Jim Carrey being goofy.
Right.
Just to wrap up that thought, so all three of those movies came out in 1994, and Jim Carrey made $107 million worldwide.
Wow.
Or sorry, the movies made $107 million worldwide.
Okay.
I don't know how much Jim Carrey made, but he was rich.
Mm-hmm.
And still is, I think.
Now he's a painter.
Yeah, Jim Carrey, he went on a weird, like, spiritual quest, I guess. I don't know. He's no longer an actor.
Yeah, doesn't he think we live in a simulation?
Something like that. I think he did a lot of like psychedelic drugs, and I don't know if he uses the term simulation necessarily, but like in that realm.
He is apparently a Buddhist, a Muslim, and a Christian.
What? At the same time?
Cool.
Yeah, that's a quote from him.
Maybe it's a joke.
I don't know.
I think so. I think he's trying to be meta with that. He's trying to be provocative.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Okay, one more exercise for you guys. So this is these are the plot to a movie described in one sentence. Let's see if you can guess them. Okay, first one. Man gets steroids and a frisbee to fight off Nazis.
Oh, Captain America.
Correct. An orphan farm boy kisses sister while deadbeat dad tries to get him to join the family business.
Orphan farm boy kisses
Is it
sister.
an old movie?
I don't know.
Yeah. It's Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. This one. Drug-addicted girl takes advantage of mentally challenged boy for 3 decades.
Oh, Forrest Gump.
That's right.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That pokes fun at...
I should watch more movies.
Yeah, you got to watch Forrest Gump. Man saves woman from drowning. Woman doesn't return favor. Titanic.
You know those games where like your wife and your mom are drowning, who would you save? That's what came into my mind.
That's funny.
I went to
only save
the
one.
Titanic Museum in Belfast, which is a really amazing museum. As far as museums go, this is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, grim story, but phenomenal museum. The way they did it and the way they told the story was incredible. And you see a shot of like the door, and there's like a picture of a person near the door. It could have fit 2 people. Yeah, when you see like everything for scale, it could easily have fit 2 people.
I mean, it makes it more romantic.
It
Yeah.
doesn't. She could have saved him.
No, that wouldn't be as romantic as if he should die for her.
Yeah.
You know what I think it was? I think it was it James Cameron who's the director? What I think James Cameron was trying to symbolically demonstrate was that the door represents the bed, and the icy water represents his wife essentially stealing the covers in that bed and leaving him to die in the icy cold.
I think he got divorced as well, didn't
This
he?
probably explains it.
I think that's the thing. Is James Cameron divorced?
This should be what men go through with their wives.
Yeah.
He is divorced. Oh, that's funny.
So, if in the raised eyebrow, crazy mindset, we should remake the movie and then this time save the man and not the woman.
It should be like a horror movie. Like if you're not covered by the covers, then you like they'll get you.
It's a lot less romantic.
Yeah.
Or like what really would have happened in a survival situation. Jack just like pushes Rose off the door.
Go get your own.
There'd be no witnesses. So.
Like, screw that. I'm gonna live. Okay, let's do a couple more here. A man ends world hunger with his rock collection. It's Avengers Infinity War. An office worker does drugs to learn kung fu.
Office worker does drugs to learn kung fu. Matrix?
That's right.
What?
Here's a really old school one. Classic movie. A nun bangs her boss, renounces her faith, and flees the country.
Sister Act?
Nope. Sound of Music.
Oh.
These are good.
And last one. A man's wife dies. He tries to get high in order to cope, and he accidentally gets a minor high along with himself instead, and they go on a major trip and end up good friends when they come down. It's a Disney movie.
Up?
That's right.
Oh.
This is so messed up.
That's it.
To think of it
Yeah,
as
yeah,
a
it's-
Disney kids movie, and we're talking about getting high.
A lot of Disney movies are like that.
Any other thoughts or feelings about movie plot holes or Disney complaints?
Yeah, many. Yeah. Maybe we should save that for another episode.
Mm-hmm.
I guess final thoughts. I don't know. There'll be no final thoughts here. Hollywood sucks at plots, so
They do, but they make a lot of money from them.
that's true. Yeah.
So,
Which kind of goes to show you that people don't really care about the plot.
yeah, I mean, we could have started with your first example of the Marvel movies. Just
Yeah.
entertain me, bitch.
Or my favorite's when they have that convenient line in the plot where they're like, "Oh, because we invented this thing 5 years ago, we're able to do this," and then suddenly, like everything just falls into place. Just,
I think, well, that's why we have a screenwriter, because they only pay attention to the screen, not real life.
That's true. Yeah, this will work. Yeah.
They'll buy it. Yeah, no, just entertain me.
Yeah.
That's it.
Don't overthink it.
Definitely don't overthink it, unless the movie requires overthinking.
Yeah. Or I was watching Neil deGrasse Tyson. He was depicting his favorite movies based upon his science perspective. And he was talking about Arrival and how in Arrival they send a linguist, and he's like, you wouldn't need a linguist because they don't know the language. You need like a cryptographer because they need to decode the symbols that they're giving you, not a linguist.
Right.
It's like she would have no idea what she's doing because she doesn't know the language.
Yeah, that's a good point actually, because like, unless they're speaking English,
Yeah.
or like ancient Aramaic or something.
Right. And then talking about sound, we mentioned sound plays a big role in movie making. And there are times where in real life, sound doesn't make sense, but in a movie, you have to put sound in it. So like, for instance, an elephant walking, apparently you don't really hear the sound, but it would make no sense in a movie if an elephant is walking and it's not making any sound.
Yeah.
Alrighty. And with that, follow us on the social medias. Raised Eyebrow, that podcast. We're around.
And chilling.
And chilling, like the villains. Okay, doesn't rhyme as
We're
well.
chilling
when I
with the
say it like
villains.
that. Chilling like villains. You get
Yes.
it. And remember, kids, everyone needs to have a funny story or two to tell people in public. Gunshot? Gun blast?